That story about one really wealthy man. His name is Antonio, and he made his fortune by establishing a chain of movie theaters across the United States. He grew a small business into a multi-million dollars enterprise. He made his millions all by himself without winning a lottery or getting unexpected inheritance from long-lost uncle. So he obviously was a self-made man who went from rags to rich. And he knew on his own experience what it was like to live from paycheck to paycheck or be so broke so you can't even afford bus fare. That's why he was a reasonable spender and never throw money down the drain. He preferred to make investments or put money into a savings account rather than bought fancy boats or luxury cars that cost a fortune. He hard work and lived on his own principles, paying taxes and refusing to give in bribes. But at the same time, he was a generous philanthropist. He donated a considerable amount of money to build schools in poorest districts. Also, he established a charity fund providing scholarships and grants to students who was trapped for cash. So he came to the United States from El Salvador. It's a small country in Central America. When he came, he was as poor as a church mouse. He had to borrow money from his family back home to moving to the United States. And the first year he lived on shoestrings, the most immigrants. He had to take all jobs. So he worked as a porter, shop assistant, dishwasher, construction worker, fast food clerk, and others. He took every chance to earn a bit of money and make ends meet. He still owed money to his family, so he worked hard day and night to pay all his debt. Once he was pay all his debt, he was out of debt. Antonia started saving money by depositing it into a bank account. And that time he met his future wife. He was too shy and didn't know how to approach her, so he applied for a job in a local movie theater to see her more often. And that time he fell in love with cinema and she fell in love with him. He bought an incredible expensive diamond ring which cost him an arm and leg. And he proposed to her, and they soon got married. And eventually he got promoted to a cinema manager, and in a few years he was running entire theater. So then he could afford to buy a car and rent a bigger apartment for his family. And of course he kept stashing money into a savings account and receiving interest. Also he started investing in stocks. Finally he had saved up enough money to start his own business. So he left his job and took out $50,000 from his account where he was keeping it for rainy day. And in addition to withdrawing cash, he cashed out stocks. So he sent almost all his savings to open a small movie theater. Unfortunately, business didn't went well. It was a poor location choice, and Antonia hadn't enough experience as a business owner. So in 6 months, the business went belly up because he didn't make much profit. Business didn't make much profit, and Antonio was running out of money. He had to sell his car and took a loan to settle debt. But he got enrolled to a business course, and in 1 year he came out with a proper business plan and started to look for sponsorship. And he found a few investments, and he raised enough capital to open another movie theater. Over the years, it grew up in a big chain across the United States. And when Antonio died, his relatives inherited his business.